So here I put up a site, and I didn't do a lot yet except install the nnrest API. And it comes with a backend module that we'll look at in just a moment. Yeah, and then, like I said, here, this helpers was installed too. I'm not going to go and show you here anything else now, but okay. So let's start now, and we try to do it as idiot-proof as possible. So if I switch here to the backend module, it already starts to say, well, listen, there are two more things you have to do. The one thing is, where's my typo script? And this is something I put in here just for me, because probably all of you never forget to add the typo script, but I always forget it. So that's why it checks to see if the standard typo script is here, and we'll have to add that then to our basic template. Great. Okay, so now one problem less. Next thing is we'll have to import the basic YAML configuration, and you do that, of course, in the site configuration. So here we go. I'm on the server now with FTP, and I already, of course, have it prepared here, so it goes faster. Put that in there. Yeah, and it's a very short script, but that defines, for example, what the prefix, this /API, will be. So then let's have a look. And then one more problem that could be a problem, but we'll take care of that now just to make sure. On certain servers, there's a problem with forwarding the authorization header. And to make sure that that works, it recommends to actually put something in your htaccess. And that's really the last thing we have to do, so don't worry. It's just these two lines here, which I already have in here too. You put them right underneath your rewrite engine on command. I think they work further up on the top too, but it doesn't matter. So here we go. And then after checking again, we should be up. Oh, okay. I think I have the comment here too. That was, of course, kind of stupid. Sorry. I accidentally put this here uncommented into the comment, and that, of course, is a problem. Here we go. That looks better. So the error. Here we go. Okay. Now, kind of nice. The extension comes with a test bed. Of course, most of you probably are using Postman or other great extensions, great applications. But I thought it was kind of nice to have something in here that you could authenticate with, just to test it really fast, and that it will also allow you to see and to document all of your REST API in the back end. Okay, so every endpoint that you create, you can also put in a comment in the annotation, and it will automatically parse the comment and create a documentation. You can have examples in it. It kind of tells you, what is the access rights currently, where is it going to which controller, and so on. And that, of course, is great because I love not writing extra documentation. I think it's great if the code itself is a documentation, and this exposes it in the backend so that all the developers here can see what's there. And then you can use this testbed here to just create, compose requests. For example, I'll just try something here. API get index. Okay, so it's a GET request to a controller that comes shipped with the REST API. I'll submit it. Here we go. It says successfully called the endpoint. And with all other request types, for example, post, of course, you can also edit the body. You can put something in here, edit that, and also add files if you like. So it's a real nice test bed. It's like Postman, basically, but in the TYPO3 backend. And you can use it to test other APIs too. So it's not, of course, bound to an REST API. You could just edit the URL here and put something else in there. So yeah. Let's get started. Now, of course, to get started, I already said, you'll have to be working in your own extension. You have to create an own extension. And everybody knows how to do it, but I think it's kind of annoying to get things set up in the beginning. So we also added a Kickstarter here. The Kickstarter is kind of special because you can enter a vendor name and extension name that you would like to use in the extension. And then you can download the extension that has everything you need. It has a controller, it has everything, a configuration, and it will automatically replace the default namespaces and extension name with the one you would like. This Kickstarter is built in such a way that it's really easy to add your own Kickstarter packages. So there's an instruction again in the manual. And in case there's somebody out there who's developing in other languages, in React maybe or something, I would be really happy if you would contribute here and maybe offer your own package. So let's do this. I'll just download it here. Oh, this is nice too. You can open the README and see the README of the extension here in the backend too. Okay. Yeah, here it is. It's a really simple, basic API TYPO3 extension. It has everything you know, the local conf and everything, and the namespaces were replaced, so we can start using it. I'm going to just push this on the server, upload it to the server, and then we can go here and actually activate it. So here it is. Let's get started. So it's up and running, and then, yeah, like I always forget, just make sure that I installed the template. Okay, where is the REST app example? We'll need that too, of course. So there we go. Okay, hit the famous lightning bolt, go back and see if our REST API has found all the endpoints. And yes, it has found them all. And now to make things a little bit more better to see, I'll just hide the ones that were shipped within a REST API. So here we are, they all came. I'm gonna do a real quick example now. And I'll just override the class that came here. I'll just throw out everything we have here. This is just a demo, and we'll start more or less from scratch and get things up and running. So here we go. Like I said, this is the thing that's important. This has to go here. Now I threw out all the methods. So the backend will also say, after clearing the cache, it will say nothing left except the ones from nnrestapi API. Great. First idea, let's write a really simple endpoint that will output a text. Okay, so here I go, and I'll just drop this in here. I already said I'm gonna have a public access, so there's no authentication required. I'm gonna use, no, let's not use this here. Oh, why not? Let's use it. Okay, so I'll just have a custom root here, and it should listen to the path user. I want to pass a name, then use dependency injection to actually get it, and then return the name in this greeting. So save it back to the backend, and then it should actually, let's see what happened. Okay, what did I do wrong? I did something wrong. API access, endpoint. Maybe it's just missing public, I'm not sure. Oh. Pretty simple, as you see. typical show-off problems. Okay. Let's try. Let's just. I probably just head full of things, long day. I'll just try doing it a different way. I'll just put this in here without a custom routing. We can look at that later, just to make sure it's not something I'm getting confused. So, get test action, and we'll output a simple hello you. Nope. Okay, there's some some problem. Something's getting me just confused. So the typical thing, you know, if you're trying to show, and I tested it before, and for some reason it doesn't like me. Okay. Well, then I think I'll just do the following. Something you shouldn't do, but just to make sure we can get the demo here. Am I the right installation? Yes, I am. Okay. I'll just use one of the ones that we have here and modify that. So I'll put please in here. Sometimes it helps to put please in there. So I'll put out this here, and we'll make it public again. Let's see if it works. If not, then it's the typical things that happen. So, okay, it should be in here. It's here. Okay, so we have the endpoint. At least that worked. Okay, I can submit it. And then it says we're not allowed to access it yet. Because I'm doing something wrong. Access public, yes, that's right. Okay. Okay, I'm getting confused. I'm sorry about this. But it's the stress at the moment. At least I could say it worked, and has worked with all our installations. I'm just doing something wrong that I don't know exactly what. So please, sorry about this. Somebody says the comment block is wrong. You might be right. You are right. In fact, you are exactly right. That's the problem. It's not right. So, then. Yes, thank you very much. Okay, see, it's the asterisk missing. Typical things, yeah. Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Time's over. I've been talking too much, but have a look, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. It was very interesting.
Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure there are questions.
Okay.
Looking at the chat. Hang on.
Okay, I'm just looking here in the questions. Yeah, does this work with heavily extended FA user classes? Yes, it does, because we're actually accessing the model. So if the model has some relations in it, or you put some other crazy stuff in the FA user table, yes, it does. And then there's a way to distill the data. So if you say there's some sensitive data you do not want to get to the front end, then of course there's an annotation that's called API distiller. Here we go. And you can either define it using TypoScript or define it with an own function that will then remove fields that you do not want to expose. How to get pages and content? Yeah, that's a nice question. Here's an example. Getting content or content elements. Okay, so we use, again, a helper function and then helpers here. And this one line allows it to actually render a content element by its UID. You can also render whole pages. There is a helper function for that too. So it will automatically go through whatever you put in the backend. Doesn't matter if it's a mask element or if it's a grid element with nested other stuff in it. It will render it, and then it will replace typo links. For example, if you have a syntax in it using T3 link, it will automatically recognize that and replace the links, so you have absolute URLs in the Vue.js app later. Yeah. Very basic question here. You both did not talk about setting up Node.js on the server first. Nevertheless, this is necessary, isn't it? As far as I gathered from the other extension that we just saw, yes, I think they were working with Node.js, but here, no, there's no Node.js involved. This is all a simple PHP TYPO3 installation. That was kind of important, again, to make things simple and not have too many systems running at the same time. Is the output a HTML? Well, that depends, of course. If you're if you're responding with a string, or if you're responding with an array, then this will not be modified. But if you're rendering a content element from the backend, then it will also, if you want, but that's the standard way it's set up, it will also render the markup involved. Yeah. So of course that will be one thing. If you say you have a mask element and you have a fluid template that will render the mask element, you could make that happen. In most of the cases, you probably won't want to do that. You want to have, of course, the rich text editor content rendered, which it does. Yeah, but everything else is mainly a JSON with keys and fields. Would you say this could be used for a scenario where one would want to sync content across different TYPO3 installations? That's a really interesting question. That is really interesting. I haven't thought of that yet, but that might really be an interesting concept. I think a good way to send content between different installations is using JSON, definitely. And yeah, why not? Why not? Good idea. Yeah. So on the one installation, you would have a cron job or a scheduler job that says, I'll go through all records that were changed. I'll convert them into JSON, send them to the other server. The other server says, thank you, and converts them back to content elements. That could work. Yeah. Impressive extension and documentation, but why do you host it yourself? Why do I host it myself? Well, I host the documentation on our server, yes, because it took too long till it was rendered on the TYPO3 website. That's the only reason, and it kind of stayed there. There's no real reason. We have a copy of it on the TYPO3 server too. Yeah. Or did you mean the extension itself? No, probably the documentation. You can use this extension on the output end and the interest extension on the input. The interest extension. I have to say I do not know the interest extension.
The interest extension is the extension which Mathias will present after you.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Great. Any more questions?
Did you use any other extension for REST API like Restler? And maybe you can compare yours with it performance aspects. I think you didn't mention it, but docs shows that you support automatic validation here based on annotations. Yes, that's right too. Yes, we do have that in there. There's a validation annotation in there too. I didn't show it. I'm not completely sure if it's in documentation, but it's definitely in the code because that was a request of somebody who said, hey, got a good idea, would you like to implement it? So that's in there. Okay, no, have we any other extensions or libraries involved? Actually not. I'm just thinking if I'm saying something wrong. But I do not think there's anything except the NN helpers. NN helpers, of course, then yes, that has some things involved. Yeah, but there's nothing on the base of REST APIs involved that's standardized. So that is something that might be interesting in the future to say we base the whole thing on something else. Yes. Yeah. Did you try to use JSON Web Tokens for an FA login? Yes, absolutely. That was one of the most important features that we put in here. And again, have a look at the documentation because that was one of the most annoying things, or the course restrictions that are there. Look at whatever you like. Axios, great. That's something that I use with Vue all the time. And then here, and then you can see how it's done. And it uses the TYPO3 authentication. So there's nothing special about that. You can have your FA users in the backend. You can have user groups and everything. And then you get a JSON Web Token back. And from there on, it's just saving the JSON Web Token either in a cookie, which I don't really like, or in local storage, and using it while doing the next request that you do. So here's an example. Header, bearer, token. You know what I'm talking about. If I show you this, then you know where to look. So it's probably pretty clear. Did you use it already on some large projects where you have to handle thousands of requests a minute or more? How it behaves? Well, we haven't. We're going to have one project launched in February next year, and then we're going to be talking about hundreds of thousands of users. So that will be an interesting task. Kind of to get things already prepared for that task. There's one annotation here too called API cache, and that allows you to completely cache the response before anything gets rendered or does any request to the database. That should speed up things tremendously if you have data that doesn't change often. Yeah, you can again define, how long the cache will persist and those kind of things. But the basic idea is to say if you need the news or something, you don't have to do heavy lifting of database stuff. You can just say add this API cache, and then it does the rest for you. Thank you, Martin, for the question. I nearly had the same question. Okay, yeah. It's going to be interesting, but there's one thing that we also, concerning performance that we tried to do, and that's we're hooking into a middleware at the soonest possible moment. So we tried, to find some point in the middleware of TYPO3 where the database is mounted and where you can access certain TypoScript stuff, but then to actually get in there before it starts initializing the front end. That there's a problem there with the file references, and we're really paying close attention to the developments of TYPO3, especially the version 12, to see if there's going to be some way to get that working, because that would be a dream to say, basically, right after the route is resolved, to then hook in with the REST API and then forget everything else TYPO3 would do. So this is kind of, at the moment, kind of experimental to get that working. We have it in a dev branch, but we'll see what happens with version 12. Oh yeah, language. That I completely forgot to talk about that. Yes, of course, language is a big topic, yeah. And we have two concepts to get that here. Again, have a look in the documentation. There is the one thing you could do is where I have it here. But the one thing you can do is you can pass, like you said here, accept language header. Yes, that's one way to do it. So it will not listen to the /en or something in the URL. You could use that too, by the way, if you wanted to. The standard URL rewriting, basically. But it will primarily listen to the accept header, and that's why in the backend too, you'll have the possibility to set that. I probably have it in here. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, the second way to do it is to use the old traditional ugly question mark L equals 0 or L equals 1. That will work too. So you can put that in the GET request. We made that alive again in this extension, although it doesn't have anything to do with the core anymore. Yeah. So, oh, here it is. I can see that what I was looking for. Here. Here's an example where you can see how to do it. Okay. Oh, that was an answer to Robin. Here are the three possibilities. Yeah? Use accept language header, for example, ENUS. Use the language path. That's the standard way TYPO3 uses it. Or if you like, if you're romantic nostalgia, like some of you maybe, you could use the L equals parameter, which is pretty ugly, but it's okay for the REST API requests. Yeah. If you like it, if you have fun using it, then it would be really nice to see a heart, or at least for the presentation, to see a heart in the TYPO3 repository. And another little thing, just in the end, I think the questions are over. You might have fun with the donate button we put in here. Up here in the backend module, there's a little donation button that comes up with little funny texts. Every time you click it, there's a different text up here. So it really tries to get you motivated to maybe don't donate. And then it might be fun to read the reason why you should not donate anything, okay? So just a little thing in the back end you might like. Would you support? Will you handle to support different API versions like API? Yeah, no problem. We did that with the project for cinema here, and we were developing. We had one version done, and then we wanted to deploy a second version, and we used exactly the same way you wrote it here. We said AP version 2, AP version 1. The whole magic is just well, it's simple. Either use the custom routing if you want, or just have a controller here. That's called, that would be called version 1, version 1, version 2. And then you can have, then that's all you need. Then it would automatically route /version 1 to this endpoint. Now I destroyed this installation.
Great, thank you very much. I think that's very useful.